Stop dating these men with kids. Kids. Divorced dads are going to make you a married single mom. They're going to make you pay for everything. They're going to make you parent them. They're going to, like, let's just get into it in what I call what the hell mail, my column of a column. Although I still like go to Mel. I forget the other options. I've been on vacation. I am back. Before I dig into this column of a column, please join my Patreon. You see vacation stuff there, travel stuff there, personal stories, my lives. I've got 2 big ones coming up soon. One is in a week. All kinds of stuff over there. Creativity, blah, 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 blah. And even if you can't afford a tier, please join the free one so that you get notified when I put stuff into the world, because the algorithm may not like me that day and you may forget I exist. Anyway, we are going to start strong in the my return to column of a column with Dear Carolyn. And he is in a food coma right now and is just as depressed as I am. He has the post-vacation blues. He was living his best life up in the countryside at Anthony's parents with his best friend, Lucky. This is his norm anyway. Dear Carolyn, my husband has custody of his 8-year-old daughter every other weekend. In our 5 years together, I have been utterly respectful of his duties as a father and his kids' well-being. But I have been invited to do a 7-week fellowship and retreat in Italy. Wow, that's cool. And I would love to bring my husband. Okay, before I continue, I speed read this while on vacation. So this is probably a couple weeks ago. I don't remember what is happening. I just remember being like, oh, another reminder. Don't date married men. Don't date married men. That's for sure. I'm curious how long these two have been together and if she was involved in this divorce somehow. But okay, maybe we'll find out. But I'm going to find out with you what's happening here, because I forget. We have never, all caps, taken a nice trip together. Okay, well, I'm gonna pause before I read into that. We didn't even really do a honeymoon because of work and his kid. What? Why are you with this dude? I'm seeing some red flags. What do you mean? You didn't even have a honeymoon? What was the rush to get married? What? This doesn't make sense to me. It sounds like if you've never been on a nice trip together, you've been together, how many years? Hold on. 5 years together. Never, all caps, been on a nice trip together. Like not even a weekend? 5 years? This sounds bad. What are you doing? You didn't even get a honeymoon? Did he give you a shut-up ring? Did you even get to wear a dress if that's what you're into? Like, oh my God, I have so many questions, but right now this isn't looking good, y'all. He said no to Italy because it would mean missing 3 or 4 visits from his daughter. I respect that. I respect that. For the first time, I felt mad and deprived. This is the first time you felt that? You have never been on a trip with him and you didn't get a honeymoon. And this is the first time you're feeling mad and deprived. Right now, I don't know. I don't have enough information yet, but I'm leaning towards, why did you marry this man? Right? Like, how did this relationship start? Why did y'all get married? And why are you just now realizing that this situation seems to suck for you? I don't know. Anyway, the other participants will have their partners there, exploring the city while we work. I mean, I understand that's a whole nother conversation, because a lot of people are like torn over bringing a partner to something like this. I don't know. I don't know if I would want to bring a partner to something that I'm working at for 7 weeks. Like maybe for a few of those weeks. I don't know. What are they going to do? 7 weeks. What are they going to do? What is he supposed to do for 7 weeks? Can he work remotely? Is he just supposed to vacation for... y'all are not European. You know, over here they get 5 weeks of paid vacation to go do nothing. But that's not very common in the U.S. unless you got a lot of money, right? So what is he supposed to do for 7 weeks? Why would you even think that he could come? This seems really unrealistic. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading into it wrong. I want us to do this one normal thing. That is, a honeymoon is normal. This ain't normal. 7 weeks. Okay, did I read this wrong? Hold on. 7 weeks. Yeah, 7 weeks. This is not a normal ask. This is like crazy. 7 weeks. I was just on vacation for 2.5 weeks. And that's long. And the reason why that was that long is because it was my family from the US. And it takes like 3 days to get there because of boats and stuff like that to this island in Greece. And like 3 days to get back because you have to have a middle day in Athens in case your flight is late and you can't catch the ferry. Anyway, it's complicated. But that is why, and plus I haven't seen my family, that is why 2.5 weeks, and we were gone 2.5 weeks. And actually on the island for maybe I don't even know, like 12 days, 13 days. That was a long visit. I loved it, but that was a long vacation. 7 weeks. This is not a normal thing. Okay, on this one, you're wrong. On all the other stuff, you're right. It is not possible to bring the kid with us. Yeah, even if it was, that would be crazy too. 7 weeks? Yeah, good luck with that. I'm sure her mother is going to co-sign that. If my husband came with me for a little while, then he couldn't stay for longer than about 10 days minus travel time, so that's not worth it either. Yes, it is. That's a compromise. Like, I know it's expensive. Believe me, I know it's expensive to fly to Europe round trip. It's just as expensive to fly to the US round trip from here. There's a reason why we haven't been in over 3 years and probably won't go for another year because it's expensive. What you're asking is crazy. 7 weeks. This would be a good compromise. Expensive? Sure. But 10 days is actually, whatever. I got jet lag and all that stuff. But like, just go by yourself. The fact that she I don't know. I'm sorry, but this is like, I would be critical of the dad if he was like, yeah, sure, kid, I'll just go away and not see you for 7 weeks, even though I only see you every other, like the dude doesn't have much custody to begin with. So good for him for actually being a parent, because so many fathers don't want to. They literally just want the legacy and all the social capital and the credit without the responsibility. And so this one is actually being responsible on this level, although we don't know anything about their story. So what are you doing here? What are you doing here? One of the biggest red flags is being with a bad father. I learned that the hard way. Every single man I've ever gone on dates with or dated who was not present in his kid's life was a nightmare. Awful person. A bad dad. And I've been warned about this. They were like, if you ever date a man who is a terrible father to his kids, doesn't see him, doesn't care, that level, there is something in a human being who will just, if they reject the children they made, there's something seriously wrong with that person. That's a major red flag. And I wish I had listened to that advice, but I didn't. It's one of the biggest red flags out there. Don't date dads in general, not all, but if they're not present in their kid's life, that's the biggest red flag you could ever see. Unless they literally have fought tooth and nail and they are not, the mother won't let them and they're not like a terrible person or abusive, then that is the biggest red flag. So good for him for saying no. Why don't you compromise? I'm sorry, I still don't know. Am I being totally selfish to want this? Yes. I feel that way, but I also feel entitled to want this normal thing. This is not a normal thing. My one confidant about this, my mom, says it's what I signed up for when I chose a man with a child. Your mom's right. Your mom is right. You chose this. This is why I'm telling you. This is why I talk about this. Nobody warns us. Not enough women talk about how screwed stepmoms get. My mutual Candace Kelly talks about this. Several of my close friends are stepmothers. I have my own stepmother. I know a lot about the experiences of stepmoms across the spectrum, from awful to and I'm not saying stepmoms can't be awful, okay? That's a different video, but also something that's true a lot of times. But a lot of times they're awful stepmoms because they signed up with a man to marry him, not really knowing what they're getting into, and then they're pissed and they take it out on the kids or, you know, whatever but this woman is being a selfish person because she did not understand what she signed up for. And that's why we need to talk about this. Even if you don't pay a dime of that kid's school expenses or college tuition if they go, or literally, when you marry someone, you're sharing finances, right? And even if you have totally separate bank accounts, which I highly recommend, if your partner is spending a lot of money paying for a child, that money is not going to y'all. So even if you never pay anything, you're paying. Because he's like that. Again, you can have separate finances, but like if a lot of his money is going to taking care of a child he created that he absolutely should be financially responsible for, he is not adding that into y'all's pot of things you could do. Build a house, travel, do fun things together, have your own kids. That money is already accounted for and it's not yours. So even if you never pay a dime, you're paying. Because you know what I mean? And also, you know, maybe you are, you know, able to tap out and not do a lot of emotional labor, domestic labor, mental load, therapy, and all the things that requires to help parent a child and just, you know, whatever, be in relationships where there is a child involved. You're going to be doing a lot of stuff probably. You're probably going to be doing a lot of stuff because women do too much. We do too much. Most of us don't even know how to not do too much. So even if you are in that house, I promise you, you are going to be parenting that. Even if you want nothing to do with that child, you're going to be doing free labor. But even if you don't do any, and you should probably, because it's weird to just sit on the sidelines and do literally nothing. But most stepmoms do too much, but get no security. If they ever divorce, those kids may never talk to her again. And that's very common. Gets no credit because you're never going to be the mom. They will always see their biological mom as their mom. I mean, not always, sorry. This is complex, right? But I know so many women who have done so much for their stepkids, financially, emotionally, mentally, just done all this stuff behind the scenes, and they will never get credit for it. Those kids will never even know that those women did that most of the time. They have no idea what those stepmoms have done for them. Stepmoms aren't allowed to tell them usually. And stepmoms can't even come to their high school graduation a lot of times, or any of their performances as kids, especially if there was an affair or just a bad relationship between like a lot of times the stepmom. I did a video like a year ago of a stepmom who literally, the husband had her sit in the car while they ate dinner because he, like, I'm just saying, it is so unlikely that you won't get just a little bit screwed, if not a lot, if you are a stepmom. So I'm not saying that this woman doesn't have a right to feel entitled to have time with her partner, and feel angry that she didn't get a honeymoon and never gets to travel. But what I want to know is, why did you marry this person? Did you have conversations about childcare, finances, how y'all are going to do this? Have you been advocating for the things you need? Have you been saying, I need a vacation with you? Make it happen. Like, what's happening? Why is this why have they never gone anywhere? Like, not even like a weekend? What? That's weird. Even if you're not like a traveler, it's kind of weird that you haven't gone anywhere. But then it's also weird to be like, why won't you come to this 7-week trip to Italy where you just sit around and do nothing while I'm at work all day? That's weird. So this, to me, first impression is this woman got married not understanding what being a stepmom is going to be like, and boy, is she finding out. And she's resentful. And she does feel entitled to time and attention and traveling and stuff from her partner. The problem is she didn't pay attention to something. Maybe he did this, the switcheroo. Maybe he promised all this stuff. That's very likely. Promised all kinds of stuff and then just didn't follow through, like happens a lot with men. I really want to encourage, we cannot control men. We can't change men. We can't teach them really anything they don't want to learn on themselves. But what we can do is stop lying to ourselves. What we can do is educate ourselves by listening to other women's stories and their experiences. What we can do is understand how patriarchy works, right? And stop buying into this fantasy. Why did you marry this dude? Did you just overlook the kid factor? Did you really want to be a stepmom? If you didn't want to be a stepmom at all, did you understand what this would look like? Did you understand this man has a kid? And that is going to require a lot from him, and that if he is a good man, he will do that stuff. Did you, and this is something to ask you. This is why I'm telling y'all, women in their 30s especially, a lot of women overlook major things. It may not even be a red flag, but a not compatible thing, right? These two may not be compatible simply because she doesn't want to share her husband with his ex-wife and daughter, in terms of he had a family. He had a family, and they're still going to get some of that. Maybe not the ex-wife anymore, but the kid, it deserves that. We have to be honest with ourselves. Stop dating men who don't align with you in terms of what you want. Stop settling for things, because overlooking things, or just jumping into something like a marriage, especially one involving a child, without really understanding what that means. Talk to other divorced moms. Talk to other moms who are separated, who are sharing custody. Ask them, what do you think about the new wife? What's that dynamic like? I'm telling you, you will learn so much from talking to stepmoms and talking to women who are co-parenting with their exes who are married to or dating another one. You will learn so much, but do not jump into these situations just thinking, oh, I love him. We love each other so much. So he has like a kid, but we'll work our way around it. No, this is patriarchy. You ain't gonna work a way around it. Don't leap and the net will appear kind of crap, because the net doesn't exist for you. There is just water full of alligators, like Peter Pan style, waiting for you, right? And he's the one with the net, not you. The net's called patriarchy. And it is very comfortable, and it catches him every time he jumps, but you ain't got a net. You do in terms of the people in your life, your family and your friends and stuff, but in terms of what this relationship, there's no net for you. Don't jump expecting there to be one. Educate yourself, talk about these things, have hard conversation. Because what I hate seeing is women finding themselves in situations where they have to give up so much that they wanted because they didn't really understand what they signed up for. And it's easy to do that in a society that's like marriage, wedding. It's not even marriage, it's like wedding. Oh my God, look at that pretty dress. Look what you could do. Instagram, right? Baby, don't you want to be a mom? What's wrong with you? You don't want to be a mom. And then you're like, and then women have kids thinking, who didn't even want to be moms. And then they're like, this sucks. I want to die. Stop just assuming that you have to do all these things. Please. And especially before a certain age, because some of the worst relationships I've ever seen are women who married right before they turned 40. So they could get in that one kid, or two if they're lucky, because they're just waiting for someone to have a partner with. And at that age, and I've talked about this a lot, you are going to willfully ignore red flags because you want what you want. And you're terrified of cruising into 40 without this happening. It's embarrassing, especially if you were told your whole life that you're supposed to have all these things, and you're going into 40 and you don't. But don't let that convince you to sign up for something that will derail your whole life because you didn't understand what you're signing up for. Even if you do understand what you're signing up for, you still don't know men. They do the switch up. They act one way, and then as soon as you move in, they act a different way. As soon as you get married, they act a different way. You know what I'm saying? So let's see what Carolyn had to say. Ah, dear selfish question mark. Your mom's right. This is exactly what you agreed to. Eyes open. I love her. She's like, mm-hmm. It's hard to find a columnist who is this blunt. That's what I love about her. But that doesn't mean you always have to like it, must always exude daisies and sunbeams, and can't ever feel mad and deprived. That right there. She has every right to feel mad and deprived. And she signed up for this. And she probably didn't understand what she was signing up for, but thought she did. Who knows? Just go feel mad and deprived somewhere outside the range of your stepdaughter. Oh, this. I can't tell you how stepmoms oftentimes take their frustration with this situation that's not fair out on their stepkid. Don't do that. So you can let it dissipate naturally. That's great advice. Great advice, Carolyn. If you plan to keep confiding in mom, then tell her you know it's what you quote unquote signed up for, but you have unresolved feelings you'd like to talk through so they don't keep gnawing at you. That's also good advice. Good advice. Because the mom is right, but also that doesn't mean that she shouldn't be able to talk about it. She clearly needs to talk about it. So this is great advice. Yeah, there's a reason why you have a column, Carolyn. Maybe there's a reason why I don't. I'm just kidding, because there's a lot of people with columns where I'm like, why do you have a column? Anyway, but this one, I love this column. If mom can't be that person for you, then choose someone who's able to agree with you that weeks oversee retreating together is normal because, okay, here we go. Now I get it. Sorry, this was like a really weird way of me reading this. Oh, look at Carolyn messing with her. Let's just say I'm amusing myself with the mental image of the reception you'll get if you choose wrong. I kid, but a therapist is a good... Oh my God. Basically, she's like, yeah, if your mom can't be that person, go try this with someone else and we'll see what happens. Basically, she's like, this is not normal and you have every right to be upset and feel depraved and mad, but be careful who you talk to about it. And I suggest you pay someone to listen to you talk about this. Am I reading that right? That's what I think. She should be able to talk about this, but also like somebody who's also going to be like, but also let's work through this. What's really going on here? A therapist is a good option here for if feasible. Family blending is hard. It is. Which brings me to my second point. Having your moment to feel bad about missing out on something you want is more than mere self-indulgence. It's about healthy emotional management. Exactly. Like please don't pretend that you're okay with something you're not okay with. You know, this is that whole happiness bully thing. We have our little, where is she? Y'all, I got my dolls back. I actually brought her to Greece and then never used her because I didn't feel like doing it. So she's back. Don't let her be like, hey, stop it. You should be grateful. La, 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 la. No, right? You're allowed to have your feelings. Judging yourself, where's Judge Judy? Judging yourself for having these feelings. Sorry. This one's going to be like, you're not allowed to be mad, right? And that's not healthy either. Sometimes we have big feelings about things that even though we know that they are like kind of messed up, they also are true to us in that moment, right? You got to acknowledge that you're pissed about this, ask any mom. Ask any mom. Moms who will not admit to themselves that this crap is hard and that sometimes they really don't like their kids, those are the most dangerous moms to be around. Because those are the ones who are like, no, I love this. I love this. And they're full of rage. Moms, like everybody, needs a place to talk about their frustrations, even when they're very delusional, within reason, right? If you don't acknowledge it, if you can't admit to yourself how you feel, even if it's a very embarrassing feeling and you're ashamed of, if you can't admit that it's there, you're going to push that beach ball down so hard. And then when it comes out, it's coming out with a bang. If your response to your husband's no-go on Italy are, it's okay, honey, because I'm so lucky to be your spouse and step parent, then that would be forced and weird and in repetition distorting. Others wouldn't know how you really felt, and eventually you might not either. Oh look, man, Carolyn, I just love you more every day. It's important to trust that you can be 100% confident in your marriage and 100% pro-healthy stepchild and still be bummed sometimes out loud about the restrictions on your husband's time without feeling guilty about it. Boom. Oh my God, I just did it. Anthony points out to me that there's so many things that I say on a regular basis that are very violent and like war oriented. And he was like, is this like a US American thing? And I'm like, we do say a lot of like boom or like bah! Anyway, whatever. Boom. So do that. Not harping or dwelling or undermining, of course. So-called venting, complaining with no productive purpose, only hands over more of your life to your problem and to others suffering in earshot. I'm saying that only that you allow yourself to be honest and about how you feel and tell your husband that you understand, yes, but are also really disappointed. Exactly. Don't be like, no, it's cool, honey. We haven't ever had a vacation, right? Like, there's lots of nuance here, but that whole thing of like multiple things can be true at once is what we're going for here. And if you're not okay with no to everything as a never yielding fact of your lives, then that too. You understood 7 weeks overseas. You understand 7 weeks overseas is excessive. But what about 1 or 2 somewhere someday soon? I'm not sure if she does understand 7 weeks is excessive. Did I read that whole thing wrong? And if you made your agreements with him in good faith, and if you've learned some new things about yourself since, then it's better to be transparent with him about your evolution than to just muscle through any dissonance till you crack. I would say new things about yourself and perhaps new things about him. I always leave, we know men lie a lot of times and they pretend, oh, don't worry about it. It'll work itself out. They say that all the time and you're like, I don't know, this seems like it might be a problem later. And they're like, no, you worry too much. And then all of a sudden you've been 5 years without a vacation and you're pissed. And he, and it's because he said, don't worry, we'll have time to vacation. So she may have changed and her expectations and her wants may have changed, but also he could have just lied. And I don't even mean lied maliciously. I mean lied delusionally, because a lot of men really don't think anything further than what's right in front of them, rather than, I don't know, this is why they make terrible leaders. Instead of being like, what might our marriage look like if I, they're just like, it'll work out. Just saying, women, because we have been conditioned to think like 25,000 steps ahead than a lot of men. And maybe she didn't. Maybe she's changed, or maybe he didn't and was like, it's cool, or maybe he outright lied, who knows. I'm adding these 2 discussion extenders because I see signs of distortion already in your letter. There we go. Have another look. I have been utterly respectful of his duties as a father and his kids' well-being. Quote, we have never, all caps, taken a nice trip together. Quote, we didn't even really do a honeymoon. Quote, for the first time, I felt mad and depraved. My emphasis. And he couldn't stay for longer than about 10 minus travel days, so that's not worth it either. Quote, oh man, Carolyn, you are just reading her. That all reads to me as, fine. No, really, it's fine. No, really, fine. Boom. Oh God. Carolyn, man, you just went off in this one. Doesn't it to you now too? Oh, see, this is what good advice is. You obviously, sometimes you don't even have to give advice. You just say, this is what I'm hearing. And you repeat back to them what they said. And then sometimes they're like, oh my God. That's some of the best advice I ever get, is when somebody was like, I don't know, it sounds like you're blah, blah, blah. And I was like, it does sound like, thank you. And the boom hits twice. The normal thing that deprivation has pushed you to want so badly seems like a way bigger ask than a nice trip or a honeymoon would have been. Plus, it has you completely dismissing as inadequate a perfectly lovely 10 days minus travel with your husband in Italy this summer. Exactly. It is truly not worth it because it's a week and not 7. Exactly. Oh my God. I love it when Carolyn and I line up. I love this. I feel validated. Maybe I could have my own column one day without having to create it or do a column of a column. But I like doing a column of a column. Here's what I'm thinking. Maybe you're overdue just to be you, where you recognize you aren't a saint and you can't always smile off the cost of your choices, even as you know you made them willingly and would presumably make them again because passes every characteristic test, and where you ask your husband to bear with you as you freely, lovingly meet others' needs while also learning to understand and make room for your own. Boom. So that's what I think is really going on here. I mean, it could be so much worse, but I would just say best case scenario, this woman is not being honest with herself about how much she's actually sacrificed, and she's just trying to be like, I'm fine, it's all fine, I'm fine with it, and she has hit her breaking point. And now she's being unreasonable because she was ignoring all those other things that were really pissing her off. So that's best case scenario, which that can be resolved. But I like this advice. And then also there were comments in here. Look, I've done retreats. I've never invited my husband. My kid has had many wonderful adventures while I'm not out of town on exterior periods. P.S. Lady, just go. It's okay. That's the other thing. Like, a lot of people are afraid to go somewhere by themselves. I bet this woman is going to have so much fun for 7 weeks in Italy. She's going to meet so many people. Like, so many women would die to have an opportunity to go to Italy for 7 weeks alone. Not have to care for anybody. Not have a child or your husband. And even if you are not, like, you know, taking care of your husband in any way, literally try, like, sleeping in a bed alone. I know a lot of women are afraid of that, but a lot of women would die to sleep in a bed alone, but especially for a long period of time. Even just not having to compromise on anything. You want to watch the TV show you want to watch, you don't have to be like, well, I watch this on my laptop, or let's do this. You know, like, literally, in food choices, that's one thing I was not prepared for with marriage. I was like, all right, I can't just do literally whatever I want all the time. Because I've been single my whole life until I got married at 42, with the exception of a couple tiny relationships. I am used to just doing whatever. I'm surprised how good at I am at compromising, but like, I was not ready for that, right? And I think it's healthy for women, even when you're married, to go on little solo trips. I do it all the time. I do artist dates. Do it, especially if you are sacrificing so much because you're with a man who has a child. 7 weeks in Italy is no way normal, no matter how you couch it. Normal is a father seeing his kid every other weekend. In 10 years, she'll be grown up, and then you can have more. You can even move to Italy if you like. That's a good point. This is kind of temporary, all of this, right? Until then, go do your fellowshipping, and he can join you. Exactly. Like, why is she being like, no, it's either 7 weeks or nothing? That is really unreasonable. This issue is not whether she can have a wonderful trip in Italy, to Italy either way. The issue is that she's had her heart set on something important, and she feels like it's never her turn to see that come to fruition. That's right there. Her desire to be subjugated for the common good. She knows the logistical. Okay, that's it. That's right. That's it right there. I mean, that's kind of what I was saying. I honestly don't even think it's about this Italy trip. It's partly about that, but it's about the bigger thing. She's martyring herself, sacrificing constantly, as women are expected to do. Even if it's not your child, you got to sacrifice like a mom. That's what I'm saying. Do you know what you're signing up for? Do you? My husband and I have just returned from 6 weeks in Europe. Being away from home that long is tiring. Exactly. This 2.5 week trip that I just took, it was amazing, but we were exhausted. I was so ready to come home. And y'all, I lived out of a backpack for 8 months. Couch surfing. Like, I am I lived in a truck for 5 years. I'm like a traveler's traveler. 2.5 weeks, I'm like, I want to go home. Maybe because I'm 46. I don't know. But for the average person, 7 weeks is a lot to ask of somebody. Anyway, that's all I have to say on that. I hope you liked this column of a column that you haven't seen in a while. Please join my Patreon for all the reasons I listed before. If nothing else, to get notifications when I put stuff out in the world, so that you don't have to trust algorithms that like me sometimes and hate me other days to do that favor for you. You can watch whenever you want, but at least you'll know that I'm putting stuff out there. Anyway, like, comment, share, all that stuff. And let me know if you heard the comment song. I'm having a lot of fun with these comment songs. Et voila. Welcome to the comment song, Mo's edition, the comment song. Look at his smile. Oh, his little baby teeth. I love his baby teeth. His baby teeth. The comment song. Oh, look at those wrinkles. He's so cute. I missed him so much. Look, baby teeth again. Do you have a comment for the comment song about the video that I just did? I know he's got a big old bed and this is how he sleeps, but he loves this teeny tiny bed more. Look at that. The comment song. He knows I'm talking about him. He's wagging his tail. He's looking at me as I sing a comment song. Mo's edition. The comment song. Look at this dog. He's the weirdest sleeper that I've ever seen, and I love him even more. Oh, look at the sweet paws in the car. The car that I can't take behind my bike because he's too scared. Look at that. The comment song. Look at him sleeping like that. The comment song. Oh, look at that shade. The comment song. Look at him. Oh, look at that ear. Oh, okay. The comment song is, and he's like really mad at me right now. He's like, "What are you singing?" It's the comment song about moms. Comment song. Now it's ending the comment song. Thanks for listening. Let me know if you heard this. I need to get a new tune. But anyway, I thought I'd add some visual, fun little gems for y'all. Let me know if you heard this. Okay, bye.